didn't know any artists that were local that I trusted enough to want to do an
Mm,
apprenticeship, especially in Virginia where the requirements are so strict. So I wanted to get into tattooing, but I wanted to do it in a way that I knew it was going to work. So when I saw Ink Different, so I'd seen the ads on Instagram, and then my dad actually sent it to me. He's like, actually look into this. And I was like, all right, so I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how reputable this is. And so he sent me the link, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through it. So I went through the whole website, and I was like, you know what? This is set up like a college class.
Evan Ryman here from the Philly location. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
So glad to have you. So, we're going to get to know a whole bunch about you and your journey as an apprentice and where you're at and the whole travels. Um, First, I think I like to always ask everyone, tell me about your path to becoming a tattoo artist, like, and finding an apprenticeship. Like, what was that kind of seeking journey like for you?
Um, so I knew since like middle school I'm gonna be doing tattoos forever. So
Mm,
that was really helpful for me. Because I hear
mm,
from a lot of different artists that like it was later in life that like, you know what, I always liked art, but I always kind of got into it. I knew just right off the bat. So
mm,
I'm so like every day I'm learning something new online. I'm finding artists that are inspiring to me. Drawing every day. And so whenever I get tattooed, I'm going in and I'm like, hey, so I'm asking a ton of questions. And I always research the artists that I get tattooed from before, because many people can make a really cool design. So I want to find someone who's going to make a design that I like, and then someone who's going to have a good personality, and so who's going to be helpful to me.
mm,
So
mm.
that's something that not only has been useful to me, but it's something that I can aspire to be. So someone's not going to just come to me as an artist if I just make pretty pictures, but I'm a rude person. So
Yeah.
that's something that I really appreciated. So anytime I'd go in, I'd ask them a bunch of questions like, all right, so why do you set up in this way? Or why do you go about it in this way? Oh, okay, so you're going to be doing this part differently than what I would expect. And then they would always typically be very excited to talk to me about it because most people don't ask questions is what I found.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
they just go in and like they're paying for a picture and then they get their picture and then they leave. And so as I don't know, the artists who I've been lucky enough to work with or to get art on me from, they've been very, very excited to talk. And so that's been extremely beneficial to me. So I've been learning. So I had a couple people who I knew to talk to who I was thinking about starting an apprenticeship in Virginia, but my oldest brother was a plumber and he bounced around from different apprenticeships because they would use him for
Mm,
the free labor. He would like work with them. He would do all the stuff, and then right on the edge of completing it,
mm,
fire him, pass him on to another person. And so
mm,
I been doing all this, seeing things online, and so I didn't know any artists that were local that I trusted enough to want to do an
mm,
apprenticeship, especially in Virginia where the requirements are so strict. So I wanted to get into tattooing, but I wanted to do it in a way that I knew it was going to work. So when I saw Ink Different, so I'd seen the ads on Instagram, and then my dad actually sent it to me. He's like, actually look into this. And I was like, all right, so I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how reputable this is. And so he sent me the link, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through it. So I went through the whole website, and I was like, you know what? This is set up like a college class. Um,
mm.
and so I lived in Richmond for a year, and I did art down there, and and then I moved up to Nova, and I did classes up here, and so I liked this setup where there were requirements, and there was you could pass, and there was a network of people to work with, and so it wasn't just hey I know this guy, and it's like a
Mhm.
spoken agreement, and so it's like that made me feel like the sense of security that I was looking for. So I was like, all right. Plus, it's a larger chain, and so when I was talking with my interviews to get in, um, uh, I was hearing that you had different locations and all the different things that this system offered. And so I really appreciated that. So I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. And I was like, I waited long enough. So I wasn't gonna waste any more time. So I signed up and started phase one, and I met Lori. She's wonderful. And I kept going, and here I am now.
Cool. Cool, cool. Yeah, and it is a nationwide community of art gallery inspired tattoo studios, staffed by good human tattoo artists, creating safe space for apprentices and memories for clients. That's the thing,
Absolutely.
right? So 100%, you are absolutely welcome to guest artists all around the country as soon as you finish your apprenticeship in Philadelphia.
Of
And that's
course.
exciting that you're interested in doing that. I think that's what I hear. You don't have to. You don't have to at all. It's just that it's there for you. And I often, you know, I think there's a lot of value to people actually doing that, you
Hmm.
know, and I guess I often, on a personal note, feel like, hey, grab that opportunity and make the most of it.
Hmm.
And then, of course, everyone's got, things going on in life and things and stuff that might have them say, actually, I'm going to stay in Virginia, or actually, I'm going to stay in Philly, or actually, I'm just going to stay in Brooklyn. But it is a nationwide community, and that is there, and it's growing. So
Hmm.
you're going to have even more, options. And you are so right. You're saying you met Lori. Now, phase one you did with Luis, right?
Yeah, Luis.
Luis, right? Because Lori is the apprentice coordinator. Luis does art and design.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
we also have Jose in art and design.
Hmm. He's wonderful
And are
also.
you? Yeah, he's rad, right?
Hmm.
He's in South Florida as well, from Argentina. And I met with him right after we hired him, which was super cool because I was like, "Well, we're gonna get together." He's like, "Yeah, but I'm in X, Y, South," and I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. I'll be there in like 6 weeks. We're gonna get together." And it was cool. It was good. I desire to know everyone if I can, like personally,
Hmm.
And the apprenticeships that he went through in Argentina before he got here to the States, tough, tough, man. And I hear what you're saying in your local area, and it is true. Um, it is the Wild West out there,
Hmm.
and Ink Different has sought to make things more structured, normal, safe, comprehensible,
Hmm.
understandable, clear. And so I'm glad you took us up on it. And now you're at phase three. You're doing supervised tattoos, or you're not there yet?
Yep, I'm in phase 3 right now. Yep.
Okay, awesome, super cool. And then Ruby is supervising your tattoos.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so the 10,000 pieces of flash behind you, have any of those ended up on any of the clients or not yet?
No, not yet. So she started me off really simple, and so I can prove
Uh-huh.
each step of the way that I can succeed. And so she's
Right.
making sure I'm not going to get over my head about anything. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you do have to kind of ease into it, that's
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
When did you first getting into art? It sounds like you knew that you wanted a tattoo for a while, but when was like
Hmm.
the first like inclinations that art was your thing?
Kind of always, like, even
Mm,
my mom was telling me, she's like, "Oh, so when you do your talk with the boss, so like mention this." So when I was like a little kid and I'd be crying, she like give me crayons, and so like since then I was an art kid, um, and so
nice.
and then I was an entrepreneur since since elementary school. I was
Mm,
I would so I was in like Boy Scouts, and so I learned how to do all these knots for bracelets, and so I would make
mm-hmm,
jewelry for people, and I was doing fairly well with that. And so I did
mm,
that for a while. And then I moved on to painting. And so I was like, all right. So I'd find people who made their own clothes. So I was like, all right, it's like
mm,
I want to look cool, but I don't have money. How do I do that? So I was like,
mm,
all right, well, I can make my own stuff. And then if other people like it, I can make them that too. And then that gives me more money to make the things that I want to make. So I started doing
mm,
that. And so I painted up jackets. And so I've sent those to some like music people, and I did like merch designs for people who go on tour. And so they'd be selling designs that I've made. And so they buy the rights from me for that. And then I'll do like cover art or whatever. So I started doing digital design because I did in high school, I did 4 years of graphic design classes. So that was extremely
cool,
beneficial. Um,
cool.
yeah. And so that's how I learned a lot about design concepts and why things flow better. And so translating that into
Mm,
tattoos has been very helpful because I'm like, all right, so this is why you need unity and variety. And this is why the composition works. Because otherwise it
mm.
just wouldn't feel right. It's like, all right, so that's why this makes sense to me.